What's up everyone, it's Cody with Money Investing. Hope you guys are all having a great day today. Just let me know if you guys can see me and hear me without any issues. I don't know why my YouTube studio has been giving me some issues lately. And yesterday we had a really lagging session. I did go back and rewatch the video and we were lagging a little bit. But alright Steve, that's good to know that no issues there. I'm just going to send the alert to our Discord members. I just want to make sure that everything is working accordingly because it's weird. I don't know why it's just so lagging so much all of a sudden, but alright, so there we go. Now we can actually find the live stream, so that's good. But earlier it was just like I couldn't even find the live stream here. Alright. Alright, so welcome everybody, welcome on board. We got the NASDAQ down over 30 basis points at the moment, and we've also got the S&P 500 down about 9 basis points, and the Dow Jones pretty much up over 12 basis points pre-market. As of the time of this video, we got about 20 minutes left for the markets to open. So video and audio coming in great here in Miami. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much, Dennis. So Rogue says it's because you bought Amazon instead of Google. They know, man. Probably. That's very true. The VIX is up over 4%, so we're also seeing the volatility kind of push higher. And Bitcoin prices and Ethereum, so crypto in general, is now starting to come down, right? So you'll notice Ethereum now just over 3,100, we're down over 3.7%, and Bitcoin is also down over 3.7%, now under $48,000 once again. So take a look at the RSI, it's starting to come back down. The MACD just crossed below the signal line once again. Same with Ethereum, you'll notice that we are starting to see that bearish cross below the signal line. The RSI really sort of like this divergence is what kind of scares me right now for Ethereum, right? So even though we're just like moving sideways, the price is not quite making those lower highs. Just look at the relative strength here. It's just absolutely getting killed, right? So we're just coming down from the relative strength standpoint. So there's going to be some support here for Ethereum somewhere between $2,800 and $3,000. So that is going to be very important. And there we go. There goes our power. Hopefully I didn't lose you guys. So, and same with Bitcoin, right? You'll notice that the price itself has been pushing higher since here. So we've been making those higher highs and higher lows. So we've been pushing higher. And of course, the RSI, the relative strength, has just been making these lower highs. So we've just been coming down for the relative strength index. So, that's some things to consider here. Just an observation that I'm making for both of those, of course, cryptocurrencies. But we'll see if those support levels get validated. Bitcoin is at closer to 42,000. Ethereum is going to be at close to 3,100 right now. Jesus, I don't know what's going on with my YouTube studio. It just shows me there's 17 people watching, then it spikes up to 88 people, then drops down to 50, then it's now showing me 120. So it's like all over the place. Hopefully we can get these things fixed. I'll buy Google stock, all right? I'll buy it. I'll buy Google stock if everything just works accordingly for one day. But all right, let's take a look at Autodesk because I know that a lot of people are going to be watching that stock. It's down over 7%, 7.6%. So we were watching this before the actual earnings because this stock is, we've actually swing traded this. This was part of one of our swing trading ideas for our Patreon. We did really well. We saw that breakout from the symmetrical triangle. So you'll notice that we were basically inside this symmetrical triangle here. So these right here were the lower highs, higher lows. So we were just consolidating sideways, and then that right there was a breakout, retest, and then another breakout to new all-time highs. So very strong pattern here for Autodesk. And now, of course, it's down over 7% on earnings. So let's just break that down very quickly. So for a moment I thought my fire alarm was on. Yeah, I know, I do apologize about that. I don't know why it just keeps, the power here at least goes out like a couple times a day, and then the generator kind of kicks in. And I know that's freaked people out in the past, but don't worry. It's just the generator sound. All right, let's take a look at Autodesk's earnings, which I did read up on it a little bit, which were good. Might have been an overreaction here, but Autodesk reported fiscal second quarter 2022 adjusted earnings late Wednesday, $1.21 per share in diluted EPS versus 98 cents per share a year earlier. So that's a good 22% growth year over year. Analysts were expecting $1.12, so we got an EPS beat, so that's the bottom line. Revenue growth for the company coming in at 1.06 billion, up from $913 million same time last year. So that's also revenue growth, ahead of the analyst polled expectations at 1.05 billion. So just about 100. Well, so that's 1 billion, 100 million. So that's about $1 million more than the actual expectations for the revenue. So I'd say like that's pretty much in line with the analyst expectations. But EPS was a strong beat. We got software company lifted its full fiscal year 2022 guidance. So remember that they actually reported for the second quarter here, and they're already in fiscal year 2022. And they actually lifted their overall guidance for EPS and revenue. So EPS coming in at $4.91 to $5.06 versus $4.67 and $4.97. So that's good. And the revenue projections are at $4.35 billion to $4.39 billion from its prior guidance of $4.31 billion to $4.39. And that compares with Street's EPS and revenue estimates of $4.91. So we got a bump up to $4.91 to $5.06. The Street estimate was on the low end, so $4.91, that's good. And revenue guidance of $4.36 billion, that's pretty much in line with what they basically guided us. So I'd say we got a revenue in line. We got an EPS beat. When it comes to future guidance, we got a revenue in line once again, and an EPS also beat on the lower end to higher end for the company. So overall, I'd say it was a pretty strong numbers. I would still need to kind of listen in on the earnings transcript and kind of read the earnings transcript as well to see basically what was the reasoning behind this drop. But I'm going to be waiting to at least about $130 share like support here for Autodesk right here. So that's actually $303. That's the level that I'm watching for Autodesk as a support. So Ranjit says pure profit taking, could be, because the valuation is rich for this company, right? So last time we checked, did some analysis on it, the price earnings well over 58, price is still at 19. A software as a service company demands a higher multiple, but even at these valuations, it's a little bit rich. But of course, after the 7% pullback, I wouldn't be surprised to see a bit of more of a continuation, and for us to potentially see a retest of $303, or maybe even down to that 200 SMA sitting roughly at 290, right? So that's the one that I'm going to be watching very closely. So Lohan, thank you so much for joining in. I really, really appreciate your support. So thank you for being a member. And again, if you guys want to check out the Patreon link, that's going to be down in the description below. Still a 16% discount if you want to join and get those real-time updates as well. We did buy some stock today, pre-market. I had some trades, so trimmed a little bit of a position, and then also bought another stock that I do believe has a lot of potential in the future. So we loaded up a little bit more on that company as well. So again, the link is going to be down in the description if you want to join. All right, let's take a look at Starbucks. So SBUX. We got Starbucks pulling back here. This right here was kind of like a descending triangle for the company before we saw that significant breakout. So that was a strong breakout back from June 18th. We basically pushed higher, a little bit over 15%, so strong breakout on decent volume. And since then, we have basically come back down. Look at the RSI here, right? Just a quick mention on the relative strength index. Very, very overbought, right? That was very, very clear. So we did see an overbought RSI. Now we're coming down. Look at the MACD, it's coming down. So now there is a significant upside potential just based on the RSI and the MACD as well. So if you were to kind of retrace back up to 125, 126, that's a good 9% gain. But ideally, I would like to get it closer to that 200 simple moving average. So if I remove all the different technical indicators, you'll notice that 200 estimate, the blue line, that's going to be very aligned with this support, right? Previous double bottom here that we validated. So that's the green line you guys see on the chart. So it's this horizontal line, perfectly aligned with that 200 SMA at $109. So ideally, if I can get that price for Starbucks, in my opinion, either as a swing trade or even as a long-term position, Starbucks is a really strong brand. I haven't really done a fundamental analysis on this company. Do you guys want me to do a fundamental analysis? Starbucks is actually a great company to look into from a fundamental standpoint, right? So I'll actually add this to my watch list here, and we'll definitely do some fundamental analysis on this company. So definitely we'll see what the growth has been for the company, and then what we can project out to, and then what the price target is going to look like 2026, right? So all my estimates are going to be 5 years out, so we're looking at 2026 price targets for most companies. So we've done for Corsair Gaming, we did one for Tattooed Chef, we did one for Amazon, we did one for Google, we did one for Etsy as well. So all those videos are going to be like daily videos or every other videos. We're going to be taking one stock and doing like a deep dive on it as well. So Starbucks is going to be next, but $109 is going to be the next support level to watch. All right, let's take a look at Pinterest. So PINS, strong day yesterday. It was up over 1.79%. We're back over $54. This is also a company that actually reported some decent numbers. We did see a little bit of a decline, I think 7% decline in the daily active users. for Pinterest, but overall I think the revenue was good, the EPS was good, the growth in average revenue per user was also good for the company, so people are spending more money on ads on Pinterest, so that's good. That's what we want to see. Ideally, like I said, for any social media company, any software company, what we really want to see is kind of like a double win. And what that really means is we want to increase the number of users, and we also want to increase the amount that we're generating per user, also known as average revenue per user for that company, right? ARPUs. If there's both that are growing, that's good top line revenue growth. If there's only one that's growing, that's okay, but ideally we want to see both actually grow. For Pinterest, it was like one and not the other one, but still a huge gap down here after the earnings of over 18%. Very, very oversold. The RSI is just now starting to recover. The MACD just crossed over the signal line just yesterday, it looks like. So we just formed that first green histogram on the MACD. $54 the next support here. That's the level to watch, all the way as high as this resistance at $66. And we also got this huge gap that I potentially see Pinterest also filling in. Eventually, it's going to be a jump for Pinterest close to over 17-18%. Moving forward as well. So strong upside here with very limited downside risk in my strong opinion. All right, let's take a look at AMC. And then after that, I just want to go over everything that's coming up. I did put out a video on this, but very quickly, I want to go over the event that's going to be happening tomorrow. So we got the actual symposium, the Jackson Hole Symposium starting today. I think there's going to be some central banks virtual meeting, but the man of the hour tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern is going to be Jerome Powell. He's going to be talking about monetary policy and what his actual pathway from the Federal Reserve is going to look like in terms of the timeline for tapering, right? That's very important for the markets, right? For pretty much a lot of people, like not just the US markets and the economy. I think a lot of global investors who invest in US markets are also would like to know what the pathway is for monetary policy moving forward, right? So, because there's going to be a lot of money that exchanges hands, there's going to be a lot of money that flows into different sectors, different stocks. There's a lot of decisions that are made just based on those decisions. But anyway, so AMC, we've just entered sort of like this supply zone, like I call it, because every time we've been in this area over the past, I want to say like since July. So entire July, we're talking entire August now. So just a little bit over 2 months, we have gotten rejected, right? So once over here, we were around this level back on July 8th. We got rejected, broke down, re-entry, rejection, broken back down, and now we're just trading inside that once again. So $40 to $50 is a strong area to watch. We got that successful breakout, so actually I'll go ahead and turn $40 as a new support. That's a new support level to watch for AMC. And the next resistance is at $50. If you get that $50 breakout on heavy volume, I could see the stock making new all-time highs in a heartbeat. And you'll notice that as soon as we saw that breakout from $40, since we've been watching 40 for so long, we got that breakout and then immediately we hit highs of 48, right? The high for August 24th, $48.20. This right here, high for yesterday, 40.30. So very aligned with what we saw both days. So there is supply here. There are sellers here. There's absolutely no doubt about it, at least in my mind, because every time we get up there, we struggle at these levels. So $40 was the first resistance. We broke out, and now we're just kind of like in the supply zone. If you can get a successful breakout on heavy volume, then I wouldn't be surprised to see new all-time highs for AMC. But just that $50 resistance is the one to break out even further. All right, let's take a look at Alibaba. Yesterday was again we were down a little bit over 1.5%. Today we're down another 1% pre-market so far at 167. But still, I mean, there's volume been kicking higher, right? We've got a lot of institutional buying happening once again, a lot of bargain hunting. Kathy would jump back in. A lot of actual hedge funds, money managers are buying Alibaba because, again, this is something I've talked about time and time again. When we talk about like bubbles, right, stock bubbles, and I've mentioned this before, that I personally don't think or don't see us in a stock market bubble. And the reason, again, I say that is because there's always going to be a valuation reset. Right, this is not the late 1990s. This is not like the dot-com bubble when most companies were basically going public or trading based on a concept or an idea, right? So if you take a look at our checklist, so we have a qualitative piece and we have a quantitative piece, right? During a bubble back in the 1990s and 2000s, we mostly had the qualitative piece, right? We had most of the stories right. A lot of the internet companies, internet was big, so we had the stories aligned and the qualitative piece was there. But the numbers were not quite there, right? They were far away from actually getting this technology to where it is today, to actually getting this industry more mature and the revenues that the companies are generating. Now we've got the best of both worlds. We've got the qualitative and the quantitative, because if you take a look at some of the numbers that these companies are doing, those are astronomical, right? So there's a lot of fundamentals backed earnings and revenue for these companies, which is why even if we do see these pullbacks and crashes, there's always going to be a valuation reset for this company. And what I mean by that is, at some point, people are going to look at these stocks and they're going to just think to themselves, wow, these are just so cheap. These are just so undervalued. Because Alibaba, like I said, it's just so undervalued at these prices. At some point, there are going to be investors stepping in, like we did recently, right? There's a lot of volume that kicked in. So we had a lot of people step in and start buying Alibaba once again. So, at these valuations, it's hard to ignore certain stocks. And of course, if you take a look at the technology sector, if you take a look at what influences most of the S&P, the Nasdaq, it's the big 5 tech companies, which if at any point start pulling back or start correcting themselves a little bit more, then I wouldn't be surprised for the buyers to kind of step up once again and start pushing higher even further. But for Alibaba, 161 is going to be the support level to watch. This right here is going to be the level as a near-term support, all the way as low as 148. Steve, you guys can almost always make out when the power's out, right? That's awesome. But yes, 161 is going to be the near-term support, all the way as low as 148. Those right there are going to be 2 support levels. Resistance stays put at 180. That's the level to really watch for Alibaba. But we're still in the context of a downtrend here. There's no denying the fact that we're still in this sort of downtrending pattern, making lower highs and lower lows. So that's something to consider. And until we actually change that trend, we start pushing higher, get that breakout over certain moving averages over those lower highs, I wouldn't be surprised to actually see this pattern continue until after we see that reversal. But like I said, technically, fundamentally, I mean, this is probably one of the best deals out there. If you're okay with that risk. So that's a judgment, that's an assessment that you need to make if you want to be invested in Chinese stocks or not. Because there's opportunities everywhere, right? If you're not okay with the risk, if you're not okay with the volatility, then by all means, there's going to be stocks everywhere. All right, let's take a look at Etsy. But before we get into Etsy, I just want to quickly go over this sort of presentation. So again, we got the Jackson Hole Symposium. Keep thinking my ramen is done when I hear that beat. Oh God, you guys crack me up. Yes, so Crossboy, great question. When is the Fed talking? We're just going over that now. Central banks will meet virtually for annual gathering traditionally held in Jackson Hole in Wyoming. So this used to be a physical event, but since because of the Delta variant and the pandemic, this is happening remotely now. So virtually it'll be happening. And again, so today we actually did get some of these numbers, GDP numbers and jobless claims numbers, which I should be going over here. Let me pull that up and see if we can get those numbers. And then we will kind of cover those very quickly, and then also I'll go over exactly what tomorrow is going to look like. But very quickly, just to take a look at what those numbers were. All right, GDP, we're going to open that up, and we're going to open jobless claims. So, all right, GDP numbers, the actual came in at 6.6%. So that was actually very aligned with what the expectation was. So 6.3 versus 6.9 was the consensus. Actually, we just hit on the mark. 6.6 was the consensus. The actual growth was 6.6% for the GDP. This is, I believe, for the second quarter. So released today at 8:03 a.m. for Q2 2021. So for the second quarter, came in right on point. The personal consumption expenditure, a little bit slightly higher, about basically just 10 basis points here. 11.9% we came in versus 11.8%. That was a consensus estimate, but still pretty much in the middle of the consensus range. So remember that PCE is the personal consumption expenditure. That's really what the Fed looks at when they are deciding on interest rates. And of course, when they look at inflation, this is what they consider, right? Not the CPI, not the PPI. Those are more like headline numbers more on a consumer and producer level. That's what we talk about. That's what the media talks about. But the Fed really considers this personal consumption expenditure number, which is more or less aligned with the CPI. But again, it's calculated differently as well. So again, GDP number is very aligned, 6.6%. I mean, for the US GDP, that's pretty strong, right? I mean, it's 21 trillion dollar market GDP here, growing at 6.6%. That's pretty high, and that's all because of the quantitative easing, right? So that's all because of what we have seen for the QE, and of course all the stimulus that the Fed has provided us. All right, so initial claims actually came in at 353,000. The expectation was at 340,000, so slightly higher, about 13,000. Last week was 349K, so just about 4,000 higher than the previous week. So nothing crazy there. Let's take a quick look on how the markets are reacting. But overall, the Nasdaq is still down 24 basis points. The S&P is still pretty much flat, and so is the Dow Jones. All right, so let's take a look at when will we know about what will happen in the market because of this meeting. So, all right. So tomorrow, like I said, 10 a.m. Jerome Powell is speaking. So around that time, you want to add this to your calendar. If you want to watch it live, I will be live to cover it. But if you want to watch it live elsewhere, this right here is going to be the channel. So the Kansas City's Fed YouTube channel at whatever Kansas City Fed, youtube.com Kansas City Fed is where you can actually watch it. This is actually the channel that you can watch it at live, right? If you want to. 10 a.m. Eastern is when Jerome Powell is going to be talking, when he's going to be speaking. And also they're going to be releasing their actual agenda tonight. So after the markets close, after 8 p.m. Eastern is when they are going to be releasing their agenda as to who's talking, when they're talking. So all that, including all the papers, presentations, will be available as well as they come through. So I'll keep you guys posted as much as I can. Of course, if you're part of our Discord, then you'll get constant updates as well as they come through. But for the most part, this is where you can also watch it live if you don't want to watch it with us. This is what we talked about with tapering. Of course, this is like a rough sketch that I basically drew today, just to clear some things up and give you guys the best information possible. So we got about a couple minutes left for the markets to open. I'm just going to quickly go over this. So right now we're in like this QE phase all the way down here. So quantitative easing, right? That's what we're doing right now. And over the next like couple of years, even going till 2025, 2026, what's really going to happen is that you're going to see this needle kind of turn more towards the right. And what that really means is that we're basically going from quantitative easing to less quantitative easing, and then potentially do some type of quantitative tightening, which isn't all necessarily bad for the markets, right? There is some misconception that this is all bad for the markets. In fact, this also is very good for the markets because that's going to lead to some moderate inflation. It's also going to lead to some fair valuations. So beautiful painting. I don't think so. I was just trying really hard to make sure that I draw and write as clean as possible. But yeah. So that is kind of like the projections, right? Over the next 3 to 4 years, we're going to see potentially this happen. And of course, as interest rates go up, those are part of some quantitative tightening as well. And that is going to potentially lead a little bit of a pullback, or could be seen as some type of a negative catalyst for some of the longer dated stocks, such as technology and some of the higher growth names. All right, the markets are open. Let's just switch over to our actual indices. So we got the Nasdaq here, slightly down about 11 basis points. We just opened right there. We got the S&P that's pretty much flat, and the Dow also slightly up over 10 basis points. What do you guys think? Dow to 36,000. We got the Nasdaq hit our target 15K. We got the S&P at 4,500. What do you guys think? Dow at 36,000. I'm just gonna start a quick poll. Let's see what you guys think. Dow to 36K. So let me know. I just started a poll here. We usually should have a lot of people vote. Because usually we do get like 100 people vote, but let's see what you guys think. All right, let's just talk about some of the individual stocks, and let's just create our charts very quickly to see what's actually moving, and then of course we'll go over individual stocks as well to see if there's anything moving. All right, so a couple alerts going off, but for the most part, NEO slightly down here. This right here is going to be Tesla. We were slightly down about 30 basis points. We got Palantir slightly up. Palantir had a really big sell-off yesterday as well. And this right here is going to be AMD. $108 moving back higher, up over 47 basis points. Steve, just curious if Walgreens is also kind of a hedge against a potential market pullback for you. Walgreens, in my opinion, can be seen as type of a defensive stock. It could be. Only if you don't go into a lockdown, right? If there's no lockdown, it's only a defensive economy, meaning that GDP starts to contract a little bit and we move away from growth over to some value and defensive stocks. That's when I really see Walgreens as being a hedge for me personally. Also, one, because it pays a nice dividend, so 4% yield is really good. And they had the ex-dividend date like a couple days ago. I think it was like August 19th or something. And the payout date is in September. So dividend yield is good. And then capital appreciation, just based on the valuation for me, Walgreens is a stock that I'm carefully watching and of course adding any chance I get because I do believe that that stock has a lot of potential. So we'll see. Etsy is up over 1%. So Abdullah, thank you for mentioning that. So we're back up to $204. Again, we did some buying at close to 180, 190, and we're now back up to $205. Again, this was actually a bit of an overreaction after they reported their earnings. We saw a significant drop of over 9% on the stock. So we ended up buying a little bit. Next resistance and target is at 210 for this company. So we're going to be watching that very, very closely. But let's take a look at what actually is moving on the day. So AMC, unfortunately, down over 4%, trading just over $42. Mara is down over 3.5%. This is actually, considering Bitcoin is down over 3.8%, that's normal. I mean, I would expect Mara to be down a lot more, but the fact that Mara has been holding up, just down 3%, is actually very strong. It's very good. Coinbase is down over 2.8%. Again, that's very understandable considering crypto price is down, so it's trading at $250. That's actually a support level for Coinbase. So 255 actually is a resistance. We're not breaking down, unfortunately. But that 50 EMA is going to be the level to watch. So Micron down 1.9. Alibaba, we covered earlier, down over 1.3%, trading as low as 167 almost. SoFi down a little bit. Roblox pulling back, pretty much flat so far on the day. Everything is. Most of the stocks are red, but not by a lot. At least not yet. Let's take a look at some of the ones that are in the green. So we got Peloton, Pinterest pushing higher. Pinterest is up over 1.8%. So we are seeing that perfect recovery, right? So Pinterest, not sure. Did we share this as a swing trade here on the Discord? I think we might have. Just a few days ago. Let me see. Yeah, so Pinterest was part of our swing trade, but we're getting a nice push higher back up, right? So $54 was a support, and now we're starting to see that recovery from the RSI, the MACD as well, and a strong 1.7% move to the upside. We'll see if it continues, if the volume also pushes higher or not. Then we got Enphase Energy pushing higher. We got Tattooed Chef back up to $20, so that's good. Look at Tattooed Chef, right? Really strong move. Came down to $15.50. And since then, it's basically rallied over 30%. So very, very strong momentum to the upside, considering that this was really oversold. The MACD also, really oversold as well. And now we're starting to see that push higher once again. Etsy at 208. It's almost at our target at 210. Wow, strong move from Etsy today. Definitely. I mean, ideally, I would like to get some more shares and buy more. But that's sometimes patience. You also pay. It's like patience pays. Sometimes you pay while you're waiting patiently as well. So almost at $209. Just gonna send a quick alert in our Discord. So can't win them all, Caddy. That's true. I mean, I have a really small position in this. I would have liked to buy more, but it just didn't make sense to have a bigger position just based on where the valuations were. So that's I feel like I'm okay with the position that I have in this. All right. Just give me 1 second. Oh, did it just hit 210? Wow, hitting resistance 210. All right. Let's see what stocks are we watching today now. All right, so new stocks we'll cover. So, all right, funny how coin follows crypto in the market when they make their money regardless of buy sells. That's true. That's true. That's a very valid point. That's a great observation because Coinbase, like I said earlier, right now you'll notice it's starting to pull down, but that 50 EMA is the level to watch at 250, right? That's the level. You'll notice that 50 EMA, $250. That's exactly where it's sitting. So that's the level I would watch very closely. JWN, that's a good one. That's the one that I'm watching very closely. The only problem with this is that the selling pressure is too aggressive at the moment, right? So I want you guys to be very careful with this one, especially the breakdown that we saw yesterday. So I know it was very tempting after it dropped over 17% yesterday, but with every stock that has like a lot of selling momentum, just let it stabilize a little bit, right? Because this is like a combination of a lot of different things. It's a combination of some institutional selling combined with some fear, combined with some retail selling. So there's no telling as to where it's gonna stop, right? That's why it's important for us to have support levels. So yesterday we did have a support at $30.81. We did see some buyers step in at that level, and then today, guess what? It's all the way down to 28.70, right? So that right there is gonna be the level to watch moving forward. And I'll turn this level back into a resistance as well. So 28.70 is going to be the support right here, previous support to watch for JWN as well. And we'll kind of revisit this, right? Because the earnings were okay. I don't want to say they were great, but they weren't bad either. So we'll continue to watch this as well, and go over like the fundamentals as well for the company. Autodesk S310. Down over 9%. Look at that. Support almost getting hit at 303 here. So we'll keep a close eye on this one. Look at the RSI, right? Huge sell-off here, and the MACD also coming down. So, but yeah, strong move to the downside here. We'll continue to watch this very closely. $308. Intuit also had a gap up and then a huge sell-off yesterday, right? This right here was a big gap up and then sold off. Zoom also pushing higher. Let's see. So Zoom, yep, bouncing off of that $333, pushing back up to $355. The moving averages, strong resistance there. We got the 50 EMA and the 200 SMA perfectly sitting right there for Zoom. So that right there is going to be the resistance level to watch very, very closely for the company. All right, let's take a look at the markets here. The NASDAQ trying to turn positive. We got S&P also flat. We got the Dow Jones, the only index that is in the green right now, by just about 20 basis points. Let's go over some of the individual stocks. AMD now turning green, down about 60 basis points. We got Palantir pushing higher, up over 1.5%. Tesla pretty much flat at 710. And NIO, oh my god, can somebody tell me? Can you guys tell me exactly why this is so interesting? This is so surprising to me right now for NIO. Can anybody spot exactly why the NIO? This is just crazy. This is absolutely crazy. What do you guys think? What do you guys think is why I'm freaking out on NIO right now? Can anybody observe? Can anybody tell me why? So I have the NIO chart here, but if you guys notice, if you guys have been watching the videos, you guys may be able to guess it, or maybe able to know, because NIO is sexy. Well, that too, but no, not the volume. Candle consolidation, nope, not the volume either. It's the level, it's the low of day. It's the low of the day, it's the support, it's the low of the day. Look at the low of the day. $38.50. $38.50. Literally right there. So Milad, yes, support. You're absolutely right. Support at 38.50. So low of the day. Absolutely crazy. This is and then bouncing off of that level, pushing higher. Absolutely wild. Alright, so let's take a look at the markets here. Let's go over to our SPY holdings and see how the recovery stocks are doing. So you got Royal Caribbean, Norwegian down, Carnival down as well. We got Southwest that's down a little bit over 1%. We got Nike, Best Buy pulling back. DraftKings is slightly down over 1%. I personally trimmed a little bit this morning on DraftKings just to lock in some gains, just because of the RSI and the MACD. Based on the daily and the 4-hour chart, looked a little bit on the bullish side, overbought side here. So you'll notice that the RSI over 70 here, the MACD also pushing higher, and of course on the 4-hour chart as well, it's just way too overbought. I mean, I just looked at this on the 4-hour chart and I just figured that I wouldn't be surprised to see a bit of a pullback. 55.50 is going to be the next support level to watch for this. As we break out, that is going to be the next support level to watch if that RSI kind of cools off a bit and the MACD also stabilizes. And then we can potentially see a move back up to $65, right? So that's going to be the next resistance and the target to watch for this company. But Mara, surprised it's kind of holding up. You know, we're not quite seeing that sell-off despite Bitcoin being down over 3%. at 48,000, we're not quite seeing Mara pull back. I mean, usually on a day like this, we'll see Mara down 6%, 7, 8%, but it's just been holding up. That's very interesting. So bank stocks are moving. Let's take a quick look. Let's take a look at banks. So we got JPM up 1.3%. That's really solid. Strong move in the last 4 to 5 days. JP Morgan pushed up over 7%, back up to 163. 2% yield. JP Morgan is one of the biggest banks in the world and in the US as well. And you'll notice that the price to earnings at 10, price to sales 3. Trades at about fair valuation just compared with the others in the industry. So for a banking stock, I'd say it's pretty aligned. So TAP, yes, Mara is a BTC mining company, the one that we like to trade a lot. But Bank of America also up over 1.2%. We got Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo all up. No way, Atola, really? Etsy at 2013? What? Oh, come on. So now this 210 is potentially going to be the new support level to watch for the company. And then let's take a look at Fiverr. Let's see how that stock's doing. So Fiverr up another 1.28%. So yesterday we actually got tagged at 180 and then we got rejected at that level, right? So 180 was like the resistance that we were talking about. So we got tagged and literally like a storm of sellers came in at 180, literally at that price point. Yesterday's high was 180.75 and then we closed at 174. But today we're kind of moving back up. The RSI looks good, the MACD looks good as well. So let me see who asked me that question. So Atul, yeah, so 180 is still going to be the resistance, but we are seeing a bit of a recovery here. The earnings were good, in my opinion. They had a really strong future guidance. I did read up on their transcript as well. So overall, I am impressed with what the company is doing. I will mention though, similar to Etsy, the valuation for Fiverr is also rich. So it's not like it's an undervalued company even after the sell-off. So it trades at a premium valuation. So I want you to take that into consideration as well. So again, smaller position in this. If it does come down to 150s, I mean ideally 128, those levels, I'd be all over this stock. But again, just based on the technicals, there's a possibility that we see a reversal and a 180 breakout potentially can move back higher as well. All right, so let's see. All right, some of the individual stocks. So DPS, Domino's, that's true. That is true. Domino's is kind of like the sell-in killer. Not in the past 6 months. I don't know if you guys know about this, but do you guys know between, maybe some of you guys know about this, but between Google and Domino's, which stock has actually outperformed which stock since its IPO back in like 1994, I think? So it's been well over 20 years. So in 20 years, which company do you think has outperformed in terms of gains? In the past like 20-25 years. What do you think? What do you guys think? Who actually 2004 is when Domino's looks like it went public. So 2004, in about 16-17 years. Ruby says DPZ, so Domino's. Let me see how many of you guys actually think it's Google versus Domino's here. Yeah, when you say it like that, it should be Domino's. That's true. That's true. I kind of gave it away. I did, but yes, it is Domino's. So yeah, Domino's actually did outperform Google over the past since they've been IPO'd, and the reason primarily has been the low volatility, right? Chipotle, I like Chipotle a lot. I miss a lot of the food in the U.S. I do miss a lot of the food there. But yeah, Domino's has really done well, just based on the dividends, just based on the lower volatility, and then just reinvested the dividends back into the business. They've done really well in general, right? More than Google, because even during the dot-com bubble burst, Google fell, and then of course the recovery was that much stronger. But if you take a look at those drops during the dot-com bubble, some of the drops were absolutely insane, right? I mean, Amazon fell over 90%. We saw a lot of stocks, a lot of companies basically drop down significantly, right? So Domino's didn't have that, and hence the outperformance that we saw. But all right, NEO just under $39. We got Tesla 713. We got Palantir just over 2% here, and we got AMD pushing, well, slightly down, pretty much flat on the day so far. India's got Pani Puri though. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I like that too. I love it. All right. So let's see. CRM. So Salesforce on the move. I think CRM was also reporting earnings. Look at that breakout. Look at that strong gap up here on Salesforce. 272. That's a really strong move. Let's see what they announced. So Salesforce lifts sales forecast after first ever $6 billion quarter. That's incredible. Amid strong tailwind and corporate digital footprint growth. So the San Francisco-based company lifted its fiscal 2022 revenue forecast for a second time this year to range of $26.2 billion to $26.3 billion due to year-to-date performance and a strong execution in the current demand environment. The expectations were, the anticipated sales were between $25.9 and $26 billion, and the analysts were expecting full-year sales of $26.02 billion. They also see earnings above the market consensus with adjusted net income per share at $4.36 to $4.38 versus the projection of $3.85. So those are some strong numbers that they put up for CRM, for Salesforce. Wow. But Slack will play a critical role in the digital transformation of our customers as they reimagine the future of our work and digital workspace anywhere in the world. And let's see. All right, so that's the future guidance. Let's see what they actually reported for numbers. All right, so GAAP net income at $1.48 per share for fiscal year second quarter, fiscal year 2021 second quarter, up from $1.44 per share a year ago, and while revenue increased 23% year over year to over $6.3 billion. So strong numbers there. And the average expectation on analysts were 93 cents. That's like over a 50% above expectation. It's a strong beat. Strong revenue beat, strong EPS beat, and a strong future guidance as well for the company. Totally deserves this push higher, right? So Lucas, in order to get the access to TradingView charts, I think it's the lowest tier. You just have to get in at the lowest tier, and then all the charts will be made available to you. We've got, I think, 4 or 5 different charts, and then of course with that you also get access to private Discord and market updates and all that different stuff as well. So for the TradingView links, the URLs, the charts, yes, you would need to join the Patreon. Any info on why Amazon and Square don't move? Is Square dead? Let's see. Amazon is back up to 33.10. I mean, we are up over 32 basis points. This is a slow-moving stock. There isn't really a lot of volume here for Amazon. So, you know, once the volume kicks in, this is mostly the time when you just like let it be. Just kind of like, in my opinion, the plan for me for Amazon is just kind of like a buy and forget type of deal, and accumulate on support levels, on weakness as much as I can. For this company, because there isn't really much excitement around Amazon right now. Like when you think about the markets and individual stocks, you know, there's stocks that are reporting their earnings. A lot of people are going to be trading that, watching that, and of course there's going to be some individual stocks. Of course, AMC, GME, those are going to be always there. But even other stocks are going to be, you know, more exciting right now. Amazon is kind of like, you know, in the background, like, hey, like, you know, I reported earnings, I'm down so and so, but there isn't really much traders, much activity. That's why the volume is also down. So, you know, that's something to consider. And then Square also, you'll notice that it's just, you know, it's had a really nice uptrend, right? So higher highs and higher lows. So this right here is the actual uptrend, and we're just pushing higher, and $255 is going to be the next support level, kind of aligned with that. 50 EMA as well. Amazon is that awkward kid in school. Let's talk about a couple stocks though. Alerts went off. Ride might be up a lot. 30%, like I said, because the low previously was 475. It's a strong move, right? Strong move today on heavy volume. The volume in itself, it's not even been 30 minutes, right? And Lordstown Motors is up over, 30%, and on 34 million shares traded. So that's a lot of volume. I just want to see what the catalyst is. So Lordstown Motors names former Icon Enterprise Chief Daniel, can't pronounce the last name, as new CEO. That's good. Right, they were already struggling a little bit, but that's good that they now have some type of guidance and some CEO that can basically take the company to the next level, and hopefully they don't have to file for bankruptcy, because there were some talks about them running out of cash at a certain time, and of course, you know, the CEO they also stepped down, unfortunately. So now it's good that they have a new plan in place. So we'll see how this company performs over the next few few years. But again, these are perfect examples of having the qualitative side of the business, right? Having the story perfect. I mean, the story is great, but the numbers, right? The quantitative side. You want something that's a mix of both, right? You want something that actually is a perfect collaboration between qualitative and quantitative data. And right now, companies in this space, especially in the EV space, are very heavy on qualitative side of the business. So the business overall is good, story is good, but the numbers are not quite there yet. So that's what we're going to watch very closely as the numbers develop for this company as well. All right, NIO's pushing higher, pushing past over 39.30, and then we also had one alert on Fiverr, I believe. So let's take a look. So Fiverr up another almost 2%, back up to 178. So that's good. Etsy, let's take a look at here. Up over 5% still, up to $212. Let's take a look at Upwork. So Upwork is slightly flat so far, just up on about 1% here. Palantir on the move, back up to $25, almost $25, up over 2.5%. Tesla also pushing higher, $714. Let's take a look at the markets. The Nasdaq turned almost positive, so pretty much flat, and we got the S&P 500 now down over 10 basis points, and the Dow also seeing a little bit of a pullback. Let's switch over to the 5-minute chart. So there we go. There's been the buying for the Nasdaq, the Dow pretty much trading sideways, and the S&P also pulling back as well. Let's take a look at Enphase Energy. This is also a stock that I did some analysis on. It's bouncing off of that 200 SMA. It's now breaking out over 174. So that's good. It's going to now start acting as a new support level for Enphase moving forward. Next resistance is going to be at closer to this level at 193, 195. So I think, in my opinion, this right here is going to be the next level to watch for Enphase. Because you'll notice that we have just been getting rejected at closer to this 193 level for a really long time. And yeah, just double top here, previously resisted, and this right here is the 200 SMA. We're just kind of bouncing off of that blue line as well on the chart. But profitable company, still trades at a little bit of a rich valuation, but in this market, what doesn't, right? Pretty much a lot of companies trade at a substantial valuation here. GME is up almost 7%. There we go, pushing higher. Trading now above the moving averages. That's good. That's very strong. There's going to be a very strong resistance at 342 for GameStop here. So GameStop 342 is going to be the next resistance here, right? Double top for GME. So $342. Wow, this stock is really volatile, by the way. Again, got rejected here, got rejected there. So that right there is going to be the level to watch. And of course, let's take a look at AMC if it's following trend. Positive, so up over 1%. So low for the day, 41.82. So again, support level is going to be closer to 40. We're kind of like in the supply zone. Again, trading inside that box. There's going to be some of the resistance levels to watch. So NIO looks like we are finding some resistance here at 39.40, 39.50 levels. If I pull back on the chart, you'll notice that we have gone rejected at that very level pretty consistently, right? So this right here is all of pre-market going into the market open. So we've just been getting rejected here, boom, 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 boom. And then we sold off, validated 38.50, pushed higher, got rejected for the second, third time, and sold off all the way down to that support, literally bounced off of that support, and just been consolidating sideways, right? So that is the whole pattern. And right now we're just very aligned with where we're trading right now. So important to watch this 39.45, 39.50 level to see if you actually do break out over this resistance or not. So Tesla, let's just switch over to see Apple and Google as well over here. So Google, pretty much flat. Let's take a look at Microsoft. Down about 6 basis points, again flat on the day. ADSK. So $308, we had a lot of buyers step in at 308 for this company. Strong momentum here. If I go over to the 5-minute chart, not even the 5-minute, let's just go over to the 1-minute chart here. So Lucas, the charts on TradingView, they should work on the TradingView. It actually, I'm not sure if it works on the app. It only works on the app if you actually save the charts to your own layouts. So then that way it will work. But the only problem is that it won't sync automatically. So every time I make changes, The whole point is that every time I make changes on any analysis on any stock, it automatically syncs to your charts as well. So the next time you open those links, it will be updated for you. So it's important that you basically have access to those links, right? The links are shared in the Patreon. So as long as you open those links, wherever it is, whether it's on your phone, whether it's on your computer, if it's opened on a browser, you should have the updated links every time wherever you go. But I don't think it works on the app. I could be wrong, but you may have to save the charts, but then you run the risk of not having the updated synced charts. So I hope that answers your question. Autodesk, again, huge sell-off. Buyer stepped in at close to $308, and now we're starting to push back higher, $315. So 2.5% gain here. Good. So I see you working hard. Have a drink on me. Cheers. Sipa, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And thanks. Appreciate it. I'll probably get like some green tea or something after this. So thanks. Any plans on fundamental analysis on ChargePoint earnings next week? That's a great point. So ChargePoint as well, I can do some analysis on that. And fundamental analysis on SoFi too, yes. So we will be doing SoFi and ChargePoint in the future as well. Absolutely. Would you like to take a look at Corsair? It seems like it's getting ready for a big breakout. Let's see. Corsair. Strong momentum on the 5-minute chart here. Well, 1-minute chart on the day. It's been on a nice rally. 28.50, the next resistance. That's the level to watch. And again, we were rarely oversold. Now it's starting to push higher once again. So the MACD pushing higher, crossing over the signal line. The RSI is also pointing upwards, so that's good. 28.50 would be the next resistance I'm watching very carefully. And this stock, of course, has just been selling off. I mean, from that squeeze and from that Reddit fueled rally of whatever 40% that we saw one day when it was trading highs of $42-$43, it's down over 35%. But every single day has just been a small and steady bleed for this stock. But the good thing is that it's undervalued, in my opinion, and it's got reasonable growth ahead. The only risk is that if the gaming industry does not grow, or Corsair within the gaming industry does not grow at those projected revenues, then yes, there is going to be some risk in terms of the price target and the valuation. But that's the risk with pretty much any company, right? If they don't grow in the future, if they start declining in revenues, that's a problem. So we'll kind of recircle and revisit this stock and do some fundamental analysis. But 2050 near term, technically, that's the next resistance to watch for the company. All right, let's take a look at Jumia. So Jumia has been asked a couple times here. So this also seems to be pushing higher. So support level that we had on the stock looks like from our previous analysis was at closer to 1775. So this right here. So we did kind of bounce off of that level. We kind of breached that slightly, and now we're pushing past once again. The next resistance is going to be this lower high, right? This lower high aligned with that 50 EMA. Those are perfectly aligned together. So if I were to kind of mark that out, you'll notice that this right here is going to be the resistance, right? Aligned with that the 50 EMA and the lower highs as well inside this descending triangle. So if you get that breakout, then yes, I wouldn't be surprised to see some more upside for Jumia. And the next resistance to watch is going to be this level at close to 33.86. 33.86, the most important resistance. If there's one level you're watching for this company, there's two levels if you're watching for this company. The first one, the 50. God, there's so many alerts. First one is going to be that 50 EMA at close to $23. That's the first one, all the way as high as this 34 bucks. And the reason that is aligned with the 200 SMA. Previous resistance we got rejected 3 times, right, in the past. Also, previous support for the company as well. So previous support or resistance, $34 aligned with that 200 SMA. 23 is also going to be a resistance to break out over. With the RSI and the MACD look good. So Nicholas, will the lowest tier have trade alerts for your buys? So that is going to be, I think, the investor tier. So investor tier and higher are all going to be, they'll have the buy and sell alerts. They'll also have the market updates, trade ideas, and there was one more thing. Forgot, the private chat, the private Discord, right? So you have a main public chat, that's the main trading floor, open for everyone for free. And then we have a private Discord only for Patreon members, right? That's only strictly for Patreon members. I'm a lot more engaged there, but I also answer all questions. So if you ask me, if you just tag me in any question, I will answer you. Yes, Ben, thank you for reminding me. PitchX had an alert go off. So I'm just going to take a quick look. All right, so it's starting to pull back. That's good. From all-time highs from 118, we are down a little bit over 3.7%. Just waiting at 111, closer to that level for this company. They're like another software as a service company, great margins. They're kind of like in this payroll management, HR, legal for a lot of companies, human resource management, payroll management solutions as well. So watching it very closely, similar to kind of like my wish list for Intuit, Autodesk, some of those other companies, and watching this one as well. Strong uptrend. I still am yet to do my fundamental analysis on this one, but wouldn't mind kind of starting a small position very, very soon. So I'll keep that 50 EMA as well. All right, let's see the markets. The S&P is starting to pull back a little bit, 15 basis points here, and then this right here, 8 basis points. So resistance for Paychex is actually just going to be this level, the near high. Right, it's going to be closer to 118, the near all-time high for this company, right? So about TradingView and Patreon, can I use a tool which estimates the risk-reward box screen ratio? So Max, yes and no. Well, so it really depends. In your TradingView, you can definitely create the risk-reward ratios and the different swing trading alerts, and you can do whatever you want with the TradingView charts. With the analysis that I have, for the most part, it's just going to be any stock that you look up. So let's just say that you want to look at, Apple. So you look up Apple, you will find this analysis, this exact analysis you will find on your charts if they're synced, and if you just copy and paste those URLs. So that's the benefit of it. You're getting my charts basically for reference purposes, and they're only going to be view only, so you won't be able to make edits. If you want to save them, then of course you'll be able to make those edits, but then it won't sync automatically. So that's what I'm referring to. All right, NIO with a breakout. So NIO up over 1.5%, breaking out over this resistance. Tesla also climbing higher, slowly and steadily trying. Palantir up over 3%, so strong move past over $25. Apple for some reason is now flat. Let's take a look at AMD. Let's take a look at Nvidia. AMD is up now, green on the day. Nvidia flat. Well, yeah, flat, but still green. Still green. This stock just keeps on giving. One stock that just keeps on giving in the markets. It's Nvidia. Yeah, one of my closest friends. He's been buying Nvidia since like college. For like the last, I think I want to say like 2 to 3 years, and that's like his golden goose, right? He calls it. So very, very exciting for him, and again, strong move, great pick, and of course he's done incredibly well. I'm very happy for him. Just a strong beast, absolutely. 500 billion, just 550 billion market cap. That is incredible for this stock, right? Coming in from like let's see, March lows. It was over here. $44 to 400% gain. 400% gain. It's actually really good. All right, let's take a look at Roku, ROKU. So Roku is actually, you know what? I'm gonna put this on the watch list here. Thank you for bringing that up. That's me, Caddy. I've been buying Nvidia for a long time. That's great. That's awesome. That's good. Congratulations, that's awesome. So Roku is also going to be on the list now. I'm just going to add this because I feel like up over 3%. There seems to be some momentum catching up, and of course the R7 MACD very oversold. We seem to have found a decent support at this 337 level. Wow, 337 to 364. The stock is really volatile. I mean, this stock is really volatile here. I mean, it's up over 8%. Yeah, 30% drop. That's a lot. It's a lot. So yeah, Roku, oversold here, pushing higher. The only problem is that we're trading below the moving averages, so we're below the 200 SMA and the 50 EMA as well. So I'll continue to watch this very closely. I've got my alerts set up, and then of course, if anything comes up, we'll closely watch this for a potential breakout as well. All right, so let's see some of the other growth stocks here. So again, Etsy is up, Lovesac is also up. Roblox is slightly down, I think, down about 40 basis points, so pretty much flat so far. I think it was like closer to $90, right? So yeah, we're just kind of hovering at this resistance. This is the resistance to watch on Roblox. So Doji, that would be the level to watch. We're just kind of like back and forth. There seems to be some indecision So the real question really is if we actually close above that level or if we close below that level. Since we closed above that level yesterday, and right now we're trading above, so I'm going to turn this into a support for Roblox on the day. So $89, $90 support level to watch, and the resistance next, and the target is going to be at closer to $94. So $94 is going to be the next level to watch. MJed, hi, thank you so much for joining in. Welcome on board. Let's see. APPS, so let's talk about Digital Turbine. Unfortunately, the stock has been in a strong momentum to the downside, but now we're seeing some recovery here. You know, RSI looks good, the MACD looks good, oversold. So 52.50 is a support, and I kid you not, what is the low for the day? 52.53, right? So that is a support that we actually validated in the past, May 11th. And right now we're just like hovering right above that support. So ideally, you know, if you are someone who's trading or investing in this company, we would want Digital Turbine to establish some support here, right? At least validate 52.50, and then start pushing higher. The next resistance is going to be at $60, $60.80, somewhere around those levels, kind of aligned with that 50 EMA as well. So I would watch that very, very closely as the next target, as the next resistance. But I do want to mention that we're still in the full context of a downtrending pattern, meaning that we're still making these lower highs. So we're still like in this downtrending pattern, so to speak. So there is potential upside here, but for the full trend to actually change, we need to get a successful breakout, and for the stock to actually start making higher highs and higher lows as well. Fiverr is at 180 again. Wow, so we just hit 180 for the second day in a row. It's up another 2.7%. Strong move here for Fiverr. It's very good. All right, let's take a look at Futu, F-U-T-U. So, all right, this company has just been really volatile. So I believe this is a Chinese stock, right? I keep forgetting, but this is I believe it's a Chinese stock. 99 closer to $100 as a support for this company, and the next resistance is going to be aligned with those moving averages. And you'll notice that if I were to mark this resistance right here, you know, previous support somewhat validated, and the previous resistance, we've just been getting validated at that level. We got rejected a couple times before seeing that sell off. So $99 support here, near term resistance to watch at close to $119 a share. So, you know, around that level, it's going to be the next resistance for this company. But overall, I feel like the selling pressure has exhausted somewhat. You know, we basically sold off, the buyer stepped in, and in my opinion, there's a higher probability that we start turning sideways, we consolidate a little bit, or at least get a retest back up to 118. It's going to be a decent 14-15% upside here for this company. Palantir is up 3.4%. Wow, 25.10. Strong move for Palantir here. So Ankur, can you make a video on long-term undervalued stocks? Like a full video with like 8 to 10 different stocks that are undervalued in my opinion right now, or just like what kind of video are you referring to? The VIX is still up over 4.7. Let's take a look at VXN. Also up over 2.3% slightly. So we'll see. This, you know, this all happens in a matter of like 4 to 5 days, right? So you'll notice the VIX basically spiked and back down, all in a matter of like 7 days, 8 days. So, all right, perfect, got it. I'll try to do that video very soon. I was doing like something like a tier list type video where like, you know, you create like different tiers for different stocks, like small cap, medium cap, large cap, and then you put them in different tiers based on, you know, their growth projections, their risk, and different types of like, try to make it like more fun, and put them in different tiers. I'll see what I can do, but definitely I do have some ideas on that. All right, so let's take a look at Bitcoin. Still hovering around this level 47.33. We did push higher a little bit. So low for the day was 46,250. Kind of bouncing off of that support at 200 SMA, and now we're pushing back higher. Upwork hitting that 43 mark. The alert went off, so we're up another 2% for Upwork, so that's good. Fiverr and Upwork kind of had a very similar pattern. So the last couple of days, you'll notice that we did see kind of some consolidation, and now we're seeing the buyers step in for these two companies again. So that's good. Pinterest is also up over 2%. So very, very strong move for Pinterest as well. Congratulations to anyone who took a swing trade on this. Jason, I'm sure you took a swing trade, so congratulations on it. All All right, let's take a look at some other stocks. I did see some really interesting ones. Docusign. I like Docusign too. So Docusign, this right here was kind of like the uptrending channel, or like the higher highs and the higher lows. Then we broke down, we validated support to close to 180, and then just been a strong uptrend here. The only problem I have, may have already happened, was the negative divergence, the bearish divergence that we basically saw for the stock. You'll notice that we were making some serious lower highs, and from this we basically sold off over 9.8%, which I'd say is a reasonable correction for Docusign, but you know, $235, $240 would have been better, closer to that 200 SMA, in my opinion. And this right here is going to be the next resistance at $312. So I think somebody asked me for the resistance. Kevin, so yeah, so resistance is going to be at closer to $312 for this stock. Maybe move down close to 311. It's going to be the next level. But yeah, the RSI looks good, the MACD looks good. I wouldn't be surprised to actually see some more upside here. All right, let's take a look at BNGO. So BNGO, I know, as far as I can remember, was kind of coiling into this pattern. Again, the resistance here for BNGO is going to be those moving averages, right? $6 around those levels, $6.25, aligned with that 50 EMA and the 200 SMA as well. XPeng earnings, yes, I'm going to break that down in just a second, very quickly. But so Suarez, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So I'm a very satisfied member of your Patreon. Fine, sir. You're one of the kind, genuine, humble, transparent, very smart. Stay blessed, Caddy. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that a lot. And again, you know, feel free to give me any feedback, because we're all here to build a community that we can all benefit from. So you know, as always, you know, feel free to share your guys' comments, feedbacks, questions. Take them very seriously. So thank you so much for being a part of our Patreon. You're gonna make me cry, right? With all those comments, you're gonna make me cry. But thank you. I really appreciate it. But yeah, for BNGO, close to $6 is going to be the next resistance here to watch, and 550 is a support level. So Rita, yeah, BNGO starting to push higher here. 550 is a support, resistance here at the moving averages. If we can get that successful breakout like we saw here, so you'll notice that we got that breakout coming from June 4th, right? You'll notice that we immediately after that saw incredible breakout over 22% for the stock. And since then, we've just been trading below that 50 EMA. So if the volume kicks in, right now the volume is really low, right? We'll take a notice, look at the volume down here, just like really low volume compared with the average 10-day volume. So those 50 EMAs, to get that breakout over 625, wouldn't be surprised to actually get that more momentum and more volume kind of kick in moving forward. So Chad, Caddy, do you think the Jackson Hole will affect the indices or NASDAQ 100 going down? That's a great question. You know, largely depends on what Jerome Powell basically ends up saying. I don't think that he's going to make like any significant policy changes, because a lot of it has to go through a lot of the process. You know, there's FOMC members for a reason. So I don't think he's going to just take it on himself to announce at this meeting. I think it's going to be a great speech. I think he's just going to talk about, you know, how far we've recovered, how well the economy's done. And again, there's still long ways to go until we see that substantial further progress, right? That's been the word that they've been using. So I don't think there's going to be some significant policy change, but then again, leading up to the FOMC meeting in September, that's what I'm really sort of focused on. That's when they're going to release the summary of economic projections. I'm really interested to find out how those economic projections have changed. And the reason that is because in our last SEP, which again is the summary of economic projections, we saw the actual PCE, which is the inflation number, tick up by a full 1 percentage point. So I think it went from like 2.4 to 3.4% in the last update. So they are realizing that inflation is in fact getting out of hand. But since that, it's been 2 months. We've got 2 new jobs reports, we've got 2 new inflation reports, and we're going to get another one in September, right? So we're going to get another one, new inflation and new jobs. So that's total 3. So I'm really interested to find out what those new updates are going to be. So I think in this meeting, he's going to address some of the jobs numbers and of course how they're improving. And again, it's not just about the unemployment rate in general, it's about some of the different categories. We're talking about blacks, Hispanics, women, all those different categories need to improve in order for the Fed to basically consider that as substantial further progress and start tapering. That's the first thing, right? If you talk about it in different steps, step 1, substantial further progress. Step 2, start tapering. Step 3, then you start talking about interest rate hikes, and step 4, then you start actually raising interest rates. So it's a long process. It's going to take some time. The markets are going to do what they're going to do, right? There's going to be a lot of decisions made, and usually those are the types of overreactions that we want to take advantage of, right? I personally don't want to follow like word by word exactly what Jerome Powell is saying, but instead just get the bigger picture and just get the macro out of it. And eventually I want to get into financials as well. I was just talking about this with our Discord members that there is going to be a couple financial stocks or just an ETF that I'm looking into, I'm researching right now, that I want to get into eventually. As more of a value play, and then eventually we know where interest rates are going. I think financials are going to benefit from that. So just trying to find something that's undervalued, because I feel like markets being forward looking, a lot of the banks have already priced that in, right? Because everybody knows inflation is going up, interest rates will potentially go up because that's how it usually goes. And of course, in a rising interest rate environment, bank stocks do really well, right? A lot of the debt products, credit cards, mortgages, student loans, auto loans, they're all priced against those interest rates. So, whatever happens in any market, banks always make money. They always find somehow to make money. It's just in a rising interest rate environment, they make more of it. That's all. And again, in the past year, what have we seen? Well, we've seen the trading revenues basically overshadow all the other types of revenues, right? Trading has been really good for these investment banks and then just banks in general, right? As opposed to the actual revenue that they make on those net interest margin, the fees that they generate. All right, so let's take a look at LKCU. And I think that was like a pretty long answer, but LKCU. Suarez, again, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. So this right here was kind of like a symmetrical triangle. Looks like we've done some analysis on it. Symmetrical triangle, looks like we did see that breakout passed over this level. So this right here is the resistance at close to $3. We're now bouncing off of that 200 simple moving average, right? So that is a very strong support, in my opinion, for this company. So right now you'll notice that the RSI is starting to push higher. The MACD also crossed over the signal line as well, and we're seeing that breakout over that 50 EMA. But the volume again is quite low, right? You'll take a look at the volume here, all the way down here, pretty low for the company. Even though it's slightly higher than the average Sunday volume, up almost 9%, but the volume needs to pick up because eventually you'll notice that in the past, when it was up close to 26%, we saw a significant volume, and we're talking 44 million shares. This right here, another strong day, up over 7%, 22%. We saw 24 million, 57 million shares traded. So the volume needs to pick up in order for us to see that upside and a jump of 77%. It's possible, but the question really is it probable, right? The probability is somewhat dependent on the volume, right? It's contingent on the volume here as well. All right, let's take a look at Twilio. Wow, this it's been a long live stream here. I didn't even realize. Twilio kind of bouncing off. It was in a range bound pattern here. Resistance at close to $408. Support at close to 330. 50 EMA 364 is going to be the next level to watch. Kind of aligned with this previous support as well. So if I mark that resistance, you'll notice that we have gone rejected. We've gotten validated as a support here a couple of times, once here, twice here, and now we're just kind of testing that resistance. So that would be the level to watch. If we get that breakout, ideally what I would want to see is a breakout, back test, or like a retest at 364, and then a retest of this potential highs of $408. So the breakout is important. That's going to be the first back test as a new support, and then potentially a move back higher to $400 a share. So that'll be the level to watch moving forward. So Chad, thank you so much. I really appreciate that comment as well. So I am really glad that you enjoyed these updates, and thank you for that comment as well. All right, guys, so thank you so much for joining in. I really appreciate you guys' support, of course, and make sure that you guys check out the Webull and the Patreon links down in the description below if you want to join our private Discord, and of course get those real-time updates and alerts exactly when I'm buying and selling these stocks, and get the macro updates as well. So over the next week and a half, there's going to be a lot of reports coming out. We've got the inflation report in September, of course, and we got the unemployment report, not this Friday, but next Friday, September 3rd. And then, of course, Kathy Wood comes out with her update on the macros. We've got the FOMC meeting coming up and the Federal Reserve. Jerome Powell is also speaking tomorrow, so I will be live streaming that as well. But a lot of those will be shared for all the market update and Discord members as well. So again, make sure that you take advantage of that 16% discount if you want to join. I really do appreciate you guys' support. Make sure that you drop a like, subscribe if you're new. Still a beat on Take-Two? Yes, I am. I will be buying it closer to 150. Quick update on that stock here. So 150 is going to be the next level to watch for Take-Two Interactive. Doing some fundamental analysis. Probably will do a video on this very, very soon. But thank you so much for joining in. Really appreciate you guys. As always, enjoy. Have a great day. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you guys are watching from. As always, happy investing. I'll see you guys in the next live stream.